It doesn't happen all at once. The loss of the self, it begins quietly, the way dust settles over something once sacred. You wake up one morning and realize you've been performing a version of yourself for so long, you've forgotten the original. Once, you were vivid, curious, spontaneous, alive. Now you move through your days like a well-trained ghost, saying the right words, wearing the right masks, playing the role you were given. But deep inside, beneath all the conditioning, there's still a pulse, a voice whispering, "This isn't who I am." And that voice, if you listen carefully, is the beginning of your return. Psychologists call it self-alienation, the moment you lose touch with your inner world. It doesn't happen because you're weak. It happens because you've been adapting. To survive, you became what the world needed, not what your soul wanted. You learned early that authenticity could cost you belonging, so you shaped yourself around the expectations of parents, teachers, and society. You replaced spontaneity with safety, and your truth with approval. And each time you said yes when you meant no, each time you smiled when you wanted to cry, you drifted further and further from the core of who you are. Until one day, the mask fused with your skin. The great psychoanalyst Carl Jung wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But that privilege requires immense courage, the courage to face the parts of yourself you've disowned. Jung called this social self the persona, the mask you wear to function in society. It isn't evil. In fact, it's necessary for navigating the world. But when you mistake that mask for your true identity, you lose contact with the deeper self, the living, breathing center of your psyche. When this happens, your dreams become dull, your relationships start to feel transactional, you find yourself feeling productive, yet profoundly empty. This is because the persona knows how to achieve, but only the self knows how to feel alive. Sometimes the soul sends a crisis, a painful breakup, a debilitating burnout, a depression that just refuses to go away. These moments aren't meant to punish you, they're meant to pull you back, because the psyche will do whatever it takes to remind you that the self cannot be silenced forever. In that moment of crisis, you might feel completely lost, but what's really happening is a rebirth. The old identity, the mask you've worn for so long, begins to crumble. And in the ashes, something true starts breathing again. This is your soul's final, desperate attempt to get your attention, to wake you from the slumber of a life half-lived. So how do you find your way back? The beautiful truth is, you don't need to reinvent yourself, you simply need to remember yourself. It starts with practicing radical honesty. Stop performing alignment. Speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. The world might not always like it, but your soul will thank you for it. Next, listen to your body. Your mind lies to keep you safe, crafting stories and justifications, but your body never does. Notice where you feel constriction, heaviness, or a deep sense of longing. Those sensations aren't flaws to be fixed. They are signals from your inner compass. Then reconnect with stillness. In the noise of our daily lives, it's easy to ignore the inner voice. In silence, however, the mask begins to slip. The self doesn't shout, it whispers. You have to slow down enough to hear it. This could be through meditation, a walk in nature, or simply sitting without distractions for a few minutes each day. Another powerful step is to revisit your childhood fascinations. What made you lose track of time before the world told you who to be? Was it painting, building things, exploring the woods? That's your essence calling you home. And finally, let go of the false self with compassion. You built those defenses for a reason, to protect a vulnerable part of you. Thank them for their service and then gently set them down. The real you isn't something you become, it's something you uncover. It's always been there. Beneath the layers of trauma, fear, and social polish, there is a self that has never been broken, only forgotten. And the moment you begin to listen to it again, your life begins to realign, not around performance, but around truth. You stop chasing meaning because you start embodying it. You stop seeking approval because you start belonging to yourself. This is the journey from existing to truly living. I used to think the goal was to build a better version of me, to add more skills, more achievements, more layers. Now I understand the goal is to come home to the one I left behind, to strip away everything that isn't me. If you've been feeling lost lately, maybe it's not a sign that something's wrong. Maybe it's the soul's way of saying it's time to remember who you are. Because the longer you wait, the more you'll forget that your real life is already here, waiting patiently for the real you to return. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey today. If this resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content on living a more authentic life. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, be kind to yourself.